Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Lynn Carey, and I was watching a program this week on TV. There's very few left that I watch. I think I'm down to, I like Hallmark movies because they're happy and inspirational, and that's about it. But I have programs that I had set to record before this past year. And there's very few things that I watch that are not uplifting or inspirational because even before this year, I was very sensitive to if I was watching a TV program that had a negative programming, I could feel it. So I had a program that I had set to record, and it hasn't been on in a while, and it was on my screen of a recorded show that they had a new episode, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can watch that now because it might be too much of the narrative. With the liberal mindset, they're going to push that left side, and now that I know what I'm watching, I can't watch that. But I watched it, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. It kind of was pretty neutral. It was just showing people kind of going how they're overcoming things, right? Overcoming their own daily struggles in a positive way. And they were demonstrating the lockdown and all the Black Lives Matters and that kind of stuff. And this episode, I didn't know if I was going to be able to sit through. And I actually was pleasantly surprised because they kind of portrayed both sides. And what I realized, well, it was still more left, but it was not in a harsh way. Because I don't have any compassion for the left right now, and everybody pushing that agenda, it just makes me sick to my stomach. But this gave me a little compassion because what I realized, it reminded me before this year where we became so divided, that everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants to feel love. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to be treated equally. Everyone wants choices in life. The problem is that we have settled for such a fraction of what we're worth. And we have allowed the programming to tell us who we are instead of remembering who we really are. And through my own healing journey and having the courage to listen to when my body gets symptomatic, I'm at the point where I'm not afraid. I don't need to run to the doctor for them to tell me what's wrong or to prescribe me drugs, because I actually have a fear of that. Like, I don't want to be anywhere near that mindset. And I know some people are not there yet. They're too afraid to do it on their own. But if you can get to the place where you are listening to what your body is trying to tell you, it will heal. It's usually where you don't heal is because you're afraid. And I've been pushed to pretty harsh extremes. I've been through a lot with this body that probably the average person would not survive making it on their own without running to the doctor. But I knew if I went to the doctor, they made me worse. So I got to the point where I didn't have a choice. I had to figure it out on my own. And even coming back from my third Brazil trip, where I was covered with bug bites and I had a fever for like a week and I couldn't eat for a week, I knew I was purging off what I didn't need. And coming out of that, once I finally healed, and then I started learning about energy, and I took Epsom salt baths, and I cleansed myself. And these were all steps that I did before. Now I kind of just know how to do it without going through all the dramatic steps, right? I went to a very high place, a high frequency place, high vibration, and it lasted for 18 months. And that became my norm afterwards. I started understanding how to get there on a regular daily basis. It wasn't like that dramatic instance at that one point. I learned how to create my norm because I learned when my energy was low, and I understood how to raise it. And I understood in that very high frequency, God vibe, I call it, that grace, bliss state, that we are God, that we have that creator in us. We know no limits. We have so much potential to heal ourselves, to create our best lives, to create heaven on earth. And the narrative of the mainstream has taken us down to such a low place. And that's why we struggle so much with disease, with poverty, with hate, with all these narratives, they've programmed us to forget who we are. And it is an energy warfare. So I highly recommend, if you're not awake yet to what the cabal, who the cabal is and what it has done to us, it is probably a 1% of humanity who has all the money, who has been literally enslaving humanity, from human trafficking to child sacrificing, thousands of years. This has gone back to biblical times. It's happening now. And they do that because they want to control the energy in a dark way. Because they program us to work hard, and then they take our money through taxation, through printing money, what they've done with all the central banks. That's an enslavement system where only that top 1% makes all the money. They control Wall Street. They know how to create the booms and bust cycles in the real estate market, and then the average person gets left in a poverty consciousness and the struggle and not making it. They've done this for years, and we've all considered this normal, but it's not. They've poisoned our water. They've poisoned our food. They poisoned the products that we put on our skin and our hair and every day that we use, from deodorant to toothpaste. They put poisons in them, and we call this normal. And they make it more attractive to buy because they advertise it constantly on the TV. They pay celebrities to promote it, and they make it cheaper to buy because that's all we can afford. And so the cycle goes. And then they've just programmed us in school to be employed, to not think, to follow the system. So we don't think for ourselves. We get out and we follow an employer to tell us what to do, to work a 40-plus hour week and barely make enough to pay our bills. And that keeps you enslaved in what I call the rat race. And when you go to the medical doctor, they don't know anything about nutrition. They don't know anything about how the body heals. All they know is to label your symptoms and give you drugs or surgery. And usually the drugs are working against the natural healing methods of the body. So it makes you sicker and more dependent on them. So all this works together. And I have found so many ways to get out of the system. But what was discouraging to me was that I wanted to share this. First, as a chiropractor, I wanted to share everybody that your body heals itself. Stop going to the doctor. Stop doing the mainstream stuff that they tell you because it's making you sicker. And I knew it was a process for people to get there. But most people didn't want to take any of the steps to work on themselves to get better. And even if they went a natural method, they became so obsessed with everything they ate, how they worked out, with going to their natural healers, that they weren't at peace either. That became a drama. I see healers even constantly trying to heal themselves. There's no peace within, and they're just afraid of getting a disease. So that's really no better. It's really about trusting that your body knows what to do, and your best state is to find things to appreciate and do the things that make you happy. We're taught to struggle because struggle creates worthiness, right? That's been my hardest thing. I grew up with, if you weren't struggling, I didn't get the right attention, and I wasn't worthy. Like, everything was hard in life. That was the mindset I was given. And the God bliss is in the complete opposite. It's when you learn to appreciate. It's when you focus on the good in life. It's on focusing on what you want. It's on focusing on the joys, focusing on things that make you happy. Most people don't even know what makes them happy because they're living on such a hamster wheel of the rat race that they have no time to think. And that's by design too. So there's a way to heal yourself. There's a way to feel peace within. There's a way, even with the money printing and the taxes, if you follow the rich dad, poor dad philosophy, there's a way to get around that too. But that requires a whole nother skill set and a whole nother way of thinking, and people don't want to take the time for that. But it's about being conscious of everything you do in life. I find people, they make themselves so busy in life that they keep spinning. What's the point of that? Really analyze what is keeping you so busy in your life daily. What are you running from? Or is it just an excuse to not deal with certain things? Eventually it'll catch up with you. That's when you have crisis. That's when you have accidents. That's when you have drama in your life or you get really sick, because that's the only time you'll stop. So stop before that. Analyze everything you're doing in life. Analyze what you're focusing on. Make lists of things that are going right in your life and things that you want to happen. Start reading books or watching videos on how to do something different, how to improve your life. Because that's what's happening now. So it's important to understand the story of the cabal. A great place to start is watch any David Icke videos or read any of his books, because he's been explaining this for 30 years, because it's important for us to understand that so we never let it happen again. But they've been wanting our energy because it's a God energy. It's a divine energy that we carry. And it's time for us, we have to get back to our own power and learn how to use our own energy to create heaven on earth. And we're each responsible for creating our best life, because it raises the vibration of the whole world. And that's what's so important. So once you understand the cabal story, you can share it with others, but stop rehashing it every day. I have people who are still sending me videos about the negative stuff. I'm like, I know the story. My focus is not there anymore. It's about how I can create heaven on earth right now. How I can understand my constitution and what's my next steps to get myself into a county that's constitutional, or to work on this county that's I'm living in that's not constitutional. And I'm working on my business. I'm working on my mindset every day. I meditate every morning. I am aware of my energy every moment. What's going to make me feel better right now? Am I watching hopeful things, or am I watching something that's depressing me? That's what's important. It's time for us to all take control of ourselves, raise our energy, start creating our best lives. That will help shift this. What we're living in right now, this limbo, I think that will help raise the vibration. And that's going to be the new way of life. That's the 5D consciousness. That's creating our heaven on earth. That's what, but it's time you would have to start making moves towards it. We have to stop believing. We have to stop being lazy. We have to stop feeling unworthy. We have to stop giving into the mainstream system. We have to start creating our new path for ourselves, which is joy, happiness, bliss, creating our best selves. We have to believe in ourselves again. And it's a process, but it's so worth it. So that's what I'm going to leave you with today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I hope you have an amazing weekend.